So now that we have the Android icons ready and that we have learned that we require icons for different resolutions, let's do the same for iOS. Now in the case of iOS, we're going to have to do something very similar. We're going to need different icons for different resolutions. But on iOS, we really only have to support 2 resolutions. And we're going to take a look at this in a little bit more detail. Right now, I want to talk to you about this Icons 8 application, which is the website that I use to download a lot of icons. And in here, we're going to be able to search for icons that we can use inside of our app. So I can start by searching for an add icon, because we're going to need that for our application. Now in here to the left, you will see that you can search for icons that have a specific style. A style that matches iOS 10 style or Windows 10 or material. And it doesn't really matter if you're going to be adding icons for iOS and you choose a different option in here that is not iOS, but it is going to be the type of icon that works better with iOS or that reflects better the iOS style. But I am going to go against that and I'm going to select material icons because I like them better. And I will start with a plus icon, and I do want to change the color to be white because we're going to be adding these icons on top of a blue background. And now we want to change the resolution of the icon in which we're going to download the icon. And we're going to have to download the icon in 3 different resolutions. The first resolution that we want is going to be 25. So we can download this resolution. We're also going to need a 50 by 50 resolution and finally a 75 by 75 resolution. And we're going to have to do this for each and every one of the icons that we need. For example, we're also going to need a save icon, and I'm also going to be downloading this in 75 by 75, 50 by 50 and 25 by 25. I will also have to search for the home icon, the map icon and the profile icon. And so, now that we have all of these icons, I'm going to navigate to my file explorer to change the name for these icons. And I have here all of the icons. I have 3 for the home icon, 3 for the map, 3 for the plus, 3 for the save, and 3 for the user. But the names currently don't really work in iOS. In iOS, we're going to differentiate each of the icons for each of the resolutions, not by folder, but by name. This doesn't mean either that we have to set different names depending on the phone or depending on the resolution. iOS is also going to do that for us, but we do have to set a different name. And the name, for example, for the small icon is going to be just the name, home, but for the twice as big icon is going to have to be home, then add, and then 2x, because this is twice as big. And then for the 3 times as big, it's going to be home and you guessed it, 3x. So the small icon is probably no longer going to be used because it was the icon that was used in the original iPhone, the iPhone 3G and the iPhone 3GS. When the iPhone 4 came out and the Retina display started to be used, there was needed for a twice as big icon. So this icon is going to be used for iPhone 4, iPhone 4S, 5, 5S and all of the 5s that there are, as well as the iPhone 6, 6S, 7 and 8, which are the smaller new iPhones. And then this 3X is going to be used for higher resolutions, the Plus iPhones, that is the iPhone 6 Plus, the iPhone 6S Plus, the iPhone 7 Plus, the iPhone 8 Plus, as well as the iPhone 10. And so we're going to have to go ahead and change the name for each of the icons. For the map icon, for example, this is going to be map. The bigger is going to be map at 2x. And the biggest is going to be map at 3x. And so on and so forth. So once you have changed the names, you'll have something like this. You'll have the original, you'll have the 2x, and you'll have the 3x. It is this way that iOS is going to know which icon to use depending on the resolution of the screen. Very similar to what Android does, but with folders. Now it's time to add all of these resources to the iOS project. So I am going to navigate to Visual Studio and I'm going to add all of these icons to one new folder. Back on Visual Studio, if you navigate to the iOS project, you will see that there is a resources folder. And in fact, it already has some icons, and they are named in the similar way that we just did. We have an original icon, we have a 2x icon, and we have a 3x icon. All of them with the same name. So for example, this icon small is probably 40 by 40. I can guess it because it has the number in the name. And the bigger one, the 2x, is still called 40, but it doesn't mean that it's 40 by 40. It means that it is the icon that has to be 40 by 40, but created for a bigger resolution. So it has 2x. So this one is probably 80 by 80, and the 3x is probably 120 by 120. So it is to the resources folder to which we want to add all of the resources that we had just downloaded and renamed. So all of these icons, I am going to drag them into the resources folder, and they are now going to be accessible for us to be using them inside of the iOS application. In this case, you do want to make sure that the build action is set to bundle resource. This is also going to be the default setting, but just make sure that it was set to bundle resource, otherwise you won't be able to use this resource in the application. So now we have both our iOS and our Android projects ready to start using platform-specific images. We have created images with different resolutions for this to apply to different resolutions on different phones, both Android and iOS. In the next lecture, we're going to learn how to start displaying the Android icons into the application, and we'll notice how it doesn't really matter if the icon is in a different project, we'll still be able to reference it directly from the portable class library.